Hello and welcome to the Enlightenment Exchange. This is going to be an interesting one today, but before I move any further, if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button. Because why not?
Right.
Really, it's inconsequential in the world of YouTube, but maybe someday we'll get to a place where we have enough where it'll mean something. Not that you don't mean anything. I don't mean it that way. It's just that YouTube has these really high hoops that you need to jump through.
Right.
So,
So it's up to you, listener, to get
you
us where
know,
we want to be.
right. Well, I mean, we can't get lucky like that. We do not care, lady, or
Right.
there's some of those people that have gone viral. But anyway, that's all right because we enjoy having these conversations every week, regardless.
Mhm.
And I really believe that when we have these conversations, whether you listen now, you listen later, you listen to a short from the episode or whatever, we're putting the energy out there. And I think that's a really good thing. So, um, this is a really interesting conversation because I kind of wanted to take it in, a bunch of different directions. And I've had some sort of epiphanies
Mhm.
in the last few days,
Those are always good.
which is interesting because, you have all these people out here that want to teach you how to be psychic, teach you how to read tarot. This is one of the first things that came through this week. Teach you how to be a medium, and then you have people who teach you about your clairs and your chakras, and there's all these like concepts that are out there. And for a long time, I felt like um, everybody has access to all the clairs, and it's really just like what you focus on that
Mhm.
that you
Okay.
can bring forward, right?
Yep.
So I firmly believe, no matter what, that intuition is how you connect to, receive, and interpret energy. That's it. But I realized the other day in having a conversation with somebody that yes, and whatever clear you choose to focus on, you can develop, but maybe one is more suited to you than another.
Mm.
Like when I
Mhm.
have the conversation about being a medium, I don't want to be a medium. I just don't. Could I connect with people on the other side? It's really funny because I had the conversation with Archangel Michael when I had a session with Val, and I said, "Can I connect with dead people?" And he said, "Where are they?" I said, "Well, they're on the other side." He said, "Where am I?" And I said, "On the other side." He said, "Well, you speak to me, do you not?" And I was like, "Oh, okay."
He's kind of punchy, isn't he?
Yeah, it's really funny because everybody I know that channels Archangel Michael say the same thing about him, that he's, funny like that and a little bit sarcastic and
A
a
little
little bit,
sarcastic. Yep.
and I appreciate that in an
I do
archangel,
too.
to be honest.
A good sense of humor is a good thing.
Right. But I've seen so many people try to, oh, I want to learn how to do telekinesis and I want to learn how to do this and I want to learn how to be a medium and I want to learn how to do that. But the truth is, you start how many times have you picked something up? Oh, well, for me, roller skating, I don't skate, I crash. It could be anything. Like, what if accessing and working on your intuition is no different than any other activity, and it's about how much you practice?
That is a beautiful statement. Can I tell you about practice for me real quick?
Sure.
All right. So a few months ago, I wanted to get serious about playing electric bass. So I play electric bass. I've had my bass for a couple years, and I started thinking, okay, what would it take to get competent, and then beyond that, even better? And I actually chatted with AI about this. What if I practiced 10 minutes a day, no matter what? And it was like, dude, you have got this. If you can do 10 minutes a day, you will absolutely positively improve. And so I have committed to 10 minutes a day, no matter what, not when I'm traveling and if I'm sick, but
Right.
10 minutes a day. And I'm like, this works. It works. And I'm like, what else could I do in my life if I really committed to 10 minutes a day? Well, intuition and listening to my intuition. I've since committed to that too. I'm like, this is so awesome. You just have to commit to That's where you start. It's so
And
awesome.
right. And then when you practice, what are you doing? You're creating what? Muscle memory,
Oh, yes, yes.
right?
In both
People
cases.
that play the guitar, the violin, an instrument, whatever, play well through muscle memory.
That's right. That's right.
So, I mean, I have clients that I work with, and I have a client that I work with every week and have been for quite some time. I do intuitive work. I do, I channel. I'm working on some things on the sidelines that I don't know if anybody's ever going to see, but it's fun for me. Um, so I'm working on my intuition all the time. I've had intuition since I was a little kid, shut it down for quite a long time. And now, like, what does it look like in your life? Like, I think that's another thing that a lot of people are like, well, if you're psychic, you know this and you know that and you know everything. And, you're like John Edward or you're like Lisa Williams or like Teresa Caputo, but maybe not. Maybe it's different. So, this is just an example, but I
Mhm.
was watching Tulsa King the other day.
Okay.
I like Sylvester Stallone. I am a little bit into the mafia stuff. Whatever. It's a
Right.
guilty as
Well, it's part of
pleasure,
your
right?
history.
Yeah, it is. Um, and there was this scene where somebody got out of the car. You couldn't see who he was, and he went inside. That it was dark, and he went inside, and he started washing, like washing up, washing his hands, washing his face, but you couldn't see his face. And I remember as he was standing there, I thought to myself, Cabe Gallo, who is the Homeland guy from the show Scorpion.
Okay.
He was also on X Files. He
Oh, yeah.
was what you called his name is Robert Patrick. What was it? Dog it, whatever. He was on X Files.
Yep.
Anyway, I remember I heard Cabe Gallo, and I was like, the guy turned around and it wasn't him. And I was like, well, the very next scene, who is sitting at the table but Robert Patrick?
Right.
So I was like, well, that's interesting. And I noticed like shows that I watch, contests are not usually fun because I know who's going to go home and who's going to
You
win.
get a little a nudge.
I mean, I just do. So what if, and this is the point, what if the idea of increasing, accessing, working on your intuition is not about being a psychic or being a medium or uh having some kind of being some kind of a spiritual
Celebrity.
entrepreneur.
Yeah. Right.
What if it's just about how you live your life and how
Yeah.
what if it's just about knowing things, like being an intuitive person? Have you ever, doctors need to be intuitive. Like, have you ever been with somebody who's been intuitive but don't really call themselves intuitive and they just kind of know what you need when you need it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
um,
Yeah. I know
I,
someone who getting into like a business arrangement, she would go, no, 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 not with that guy. I just don't have a good feeling about him. And
right.
then you'd find out later that guy was embezzling or that guy was, a real scammer.
Exactly.
Yep.
And she's not portraying herself as a psychic, I'm guessing, or
No,
whatever.
no,
It's
far
just,
from it.
you know, or what if everybody was a little bit more intuitive when it comes to these scams that are all over the place?
Yeah. What is
You
your gut
know?
telling you? What do you feel? What do you feel in your gut? It doesn't feel right, does it? And
R-
that's when, yep,
Right. Like, I mean,
like something's off about this.
yeah. So, I mean, it's fun, right? Don't get me wrong. Doing psychic work is fun. Doing readings for me is fun. I enjoy it. Working with the energy is fun. I enjoy it. But I feel like if you try to cultivate something that you don't really enjoy, oh, I want to be a medium. Well, if I would have done a ton of work, I could have been a medium, whatever. Like I
Mhm.
know I can connect with people on the other side. But do I want to? No, I don't. So
Right.
I would have gone through all the work, created that kind of a life, and then had to give it up because I just can't handle working with people who are grieving.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Which is not to say I think grief is inappropriate. So don't get me wrong there, right? Like everybody that has lost somebody has grief and has to go through the process just like, everyone else. But I'm not really the person that's cut out for that kind of
Yep.
um
Kind of work.
whatever that word is.
Yeah. And there's a lot of opportunities of things you can do with good intuition, a few you've
Yeah,
just mentioned, but even just doing fun readings at for friends,
right?
um, like that's that keeps the joy in it. You get to kind of play in the energy, and
It's really interesting. I just heard one of the reasons that I see these things the way that I see them is because I focus so firmly on the state of neutral,
mhm,
free
mhm,
from assumption, judgment, self doubt, and fear, right? So I think being in a state of neutral helps you know exactly what it is that you want. You can recognize it.
mm,
Um,
yeah,
and this is just
the
coming to
same
me now.
state, isn't it?
So it's and not only that, but I think being in a state of neutral can help you recognize whether or not you're actually good at something
Hmm,
or whether you're assuming you're good at it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you remember that situation where that woman just kept telling me, I need a lawyer, I need a lawyer, I need a lawyer, meaning me, I needed a
right,
lawyer. And
yep,
I was like, no, I don't. Yes, you do, because that's what I'm hearing. And I'm like, well, you're wrong because I don't. I put myself in a position in a state
I
in this
do, yep,
position
I
where
do,
it would never be necessary to have a lawyer. So no, I don't need a lawyer, and she just wouldn't let it go.
yep,
But she was not in a state of neutral, right? She
yep,
was assuming based on conversations she heard probably between you and I earlier, in that room. Um,
interesting, yeah, yep,
right? So it
yep,
was an assumption.
yep,
And so,
it was going through her filter,
exactly. So the more neutral you can be when it comes to these kind of things, the better I think and more clear you can be about what it is that you want. Very much like when I first started doing energy work. I mean, I really thought I wanted to create this huge business where I had, 15 clients a week and I
yep, and
had
you
this
were actually
space
working
and I did
directly
this.
on them, you know, and
Right. And then it got to the point where, I mean, and, it was one of my very last regular clients. And one of the last sessions, he was getting ready to move away to another state, so I wasn't going to be seeing him anymore anyway. But I will never ever forget working on him. I had my hands, on his shoulders, and I'm working on his energy and shifting energy and doing all that. And I'm like, open my eyes to look at the clock, thinking I'm going to see that 45 minutes had gone by, and it had been 5.
yeah, yeah,
And I was like,
my god, I can't keep
how am
doing
I going
this.
to do this for another,
Right, decade.
I mean, even for another hour, to be
Right,
honest,
yeah, yeah, let alone decade.
Um, eh, so
Isn't that great though that you realized that early on?
yeah, and
And
it's really interesting too because the space that I was in, so the building I was in, I was in 3 different spaces in there, a small, a medium, and a large. I started out in the medium, moved into the large with the second person, which is what made that other person think I needed a lawyer, which I didn't. And then into a really small one. But when it was time for me to start really, moving, bringing my crystals home, because after a while, for a long time, it was just a storage unit for my
yeah,
rocks,
mhm, they got
I,
their own place.
whatever. Um, it was a storage unit for my rocks, but the dentist that owned the building sold his practice and sold the building. So I had to move out no matter what. So the timing was such that I was thinking to move out in May, but if I moved out in April, then I didn't need to sign a new lease or anything. So I just hurried up and got the hell out, right?
Yep,
So on top of it, being in a state of neutral, I think allows the universe to work in good time with what it is you're bringing towards yourself, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yep,
because I didn't hold on to it because I couldn't let go of it. I held on to it because I was, so to speak, lazy. Because I have, this a similar thing to what you and I were talking about, and that's a thing about getting things done, right? Like
Right.
I'm just not great at that. Like I'm an expert procrastinator,
Mhm. Yep.
but I'm very productive in the last 15 minutes before something is due,
Me too. Me too.
right?
Man,
Like
we just buckle down and just bang it out and it just gets done and it's
and
amazing.
and 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 to be honest, when I look at that situation, it's why I'm not so great with getting a pile of work and somebody saying, just get it done when you get it
Whenever.
done. Like,
Yeah.
no, when do you need it by?
Right.
You
I
have to
think
at least give me when do you need it by because I've got to have an end game.
there's a great quote by a famous musician, and I forget who it was. I think it's Count Basie, but I think he says, "I don't need more time. I need a deadline."
Right? Like
Yep.
it would just be helpful sometimes. Like
Yep.
so I think maybe, but it's interesting because, I'm also that person that doesn't like people telling me what to do,
True.
least of all
Yeah.
myself,
True.
right? So I'm not
Yep.
even good at giving my own self rules, let alone.
No, but if it's a customer that says, "Hey, we're going live with X, Y, and Z,"
Oh, now
we
that's
would
a
like,
different thing.
yeah,
That is a different thing.
yep,
That's a different thing. And actually, to be honest, when I get the pile of work, I am more likely to get it done in a hurry than the person who gave me the work in the first place. They're
mhm,
really,
right,
not on top of things. But anyway, okay. So moving on to the next thing, because I think we hit all the points on intuition that we were going to talk about today. I like this flow like this when we
I
have
do
these
too. I do too. I
conversations
think
that
this is
kind
a
of
good one.
flow. So I got a new one today, and I think this is really interesting. And what if what you what you are, what you're capable of, what you're doing here in this lifetime, you know, forgetting about the original conversation about how what you choose to do in this life, you do that while you're on the other side in the ethers. In the ethers exist in pure love, right? So any of the imprints that you have from past lives being human or being incarnated don't show up until you come back to the density of the 3D world. That's what I believe.
Right. They
Right?
might be latent, but they don't show up until you're back.
Well, because they can't show up in
Right. That's
pure
true.
love. They don't
Yep.
exist in pure love. They exist in the density of the 3D world.
Okay. All right. I'm
So your
with you.
soul carries them, but if you never come back, you're never going to be affected by it. That's what I
Interesting.
believe. I
That's
believe that it's
very
utopia over
interesting.
there. Like the concept of heaven, while the concept of heaven and hell is, I believe, incorrect.
Yep.
The idea that, that it's all love, I like that idea. And I
Mhm.
believe that's, really how it works. I also believe that when people communicate with their loved ones from the other side, those people have to bring themselves back into the density of the 3D world to communicate with the medium because that's where the medium exists. So that's what oh, I never heard this before actually. That's why they present as they did when they were human with
Oh,
the
they take the
characteristics
form.
and the traits
Right.
because when the medium connects with their energy the medium is in the 3D world,
Yep.
right? It goes through their 3D filter. Interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I've been thinking a lot about like souls and the role of the soul as it relates not really to being in the ethers because that's just a big energetic enigma at this point that we'll know more about when we get there, right?
Right.
Like,
All right. I
but
follow.
I do believe it's pure love, and I believe there's no troubled souls, only troubled humans.
Hmm.
I believe that very, very, very fully. I believe the human aspect of your soul is only present in this density, not in that. because it's just higher frequency there, right?
Right.
Those things can exist. But oh, there's one of those stink bugs on the screen, and it looks like an Egyptian.
Scarab.
Yep, exactly. Hmm. Maybe that's a sign to go back to Egypt for a little while. That would be fun. Anyway,
There's a good story about Jung, Carl Jung, with a scarab. I'll tell you about that in a minute.
all right, that's cool. Okay, so if your soul travels lifetime to lifetime to lifetime with similar frequency, which is how it which is how you incarnate into situations, um you know how when people say, "Oh, why would you choose to incarnate into a family that's this or that or
Right, right, right,
whatever?"
right, right. Or
It,
the
it it's
poverty, or
it's a it's an attraction. It is an attraction. It is a frequency, and it's the frequency of the imprints that show up in the density of the earth, not in the ethers, right? Where everything is pure love. So, if in fact you carry a similar frequency from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime, is it conceivable that a soul can be something of like the person in Groundhog's Day, right? Where you do
yeah,
the same thing lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And is that why a 4-year-old is a virtuoso, or a 4-year-old kid is a fashion designer um who has a show and a collection at New York Fashion Week by the time he's like 6?
yep, yep.
Like,
I, so that's one of the most fascinating topics to me of any esoteric topic, is that right there, is children who bring with them such a strong connection to a previous incarnation.
yeah.
That to me is just like, wow, I'd really like to dig into the metaphysics of that. That's so interesting.
I- it really truly is. I mean, I've got, especially my youngest son. I don't know about my older one. He didn't really talk much about such things, but my youngest son told me stories all the time about when he was big.
When he was big, yeah, I loved it.
And he would say, when I was big, I did this. When I was big, I did that. When I was big, I worked here. When I was big, when I was big, when I was big, everything when I was big. Like, for a long time, for years. But, that's one of those things where I think that children are of that sort of pure vibration, that they still maintain that connection, and
Yeah,
then we teach them out of it, right? We
right, right.
schedule
Yep,
them out of it. We
yep.
teach them out of it.
I was going to say you crush them out of it, but bludgeon, yeah.
I mean,
It's
you
pretty,
know,
it's pretty brutal. Yep,
look at how many people have their abilities shut down because their parents, tell
yep,
them, "Oh no, we don't."
yeah. You remember that movie I was telling you about, The Zero Limits? One of the people on in that movie was saying, "Yeah, I had this ability to see auras around people when I was walking." And then, he went to a Catholic school, and the nuns told him he was of the devil if he ever spoke about that again. Well, guess what happened? He shut it down.
Yeah, right. See,
Yep, completely shut it
and
down
look at
until he
that,
was like 50.
the
Yeah,
nuns, right, from the church. Like,
right? Yeah, yeah. Don't get me started. Right?
no, we can't really, but I mean, that is low vibration shit right there.
That is a
Pardon
low
my where are
vibration.
you? I found out because I watched Chewed Up, which is with Clinton Kelly, Michael Simon, and Carla Hall, that on a YouTube show you can say words that you can't say on national TV. So I'm not gonna feel bad if one of them falls out every once in a while. I am not gonna let my trucker's mouth come out, but I'm not gonna.
The,
um
the the filter is being lifted
right
slowly.
now. So here's what's really interesting. So there's a couple of things. One is I'm studying with Dougal Fraser and Radley Valentine right now the idea of past lives and parallel lives.
Ooh,
And then so all of a sudden I start to see things that are relevant to the conversation. And one of the conversations is there is no past lives. They're all right now. Past timelines are a human construct.
Okay. Because
right?
on the other side, there is no past, present, and future.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
We have to view them as past because in our,
Because what else?
yeah, what
Right?
else is it?
But if you bring in also the concept of parallel lifetimes, which I've heard more than one person say, at any given moment, oh no, that cotton stuff. Sorry, I got distracted. There's that cotton stuff flying around. That's not good because the pool's not covered yet.
Uh-oh.
Anyway, that stuff's bad for the pool filter. But
Oh, geez.
anyway, um, so parallel lifetimes, I've heard things like at any given moment, at any given time, we exist on no less than ten parallel lifetimes. Um,
I want
and
to hop
they
over to
even
another
gave
one and
they
just
even
see if,
gave some really really cool examples. Very much like like Radley Valentine saying, "Yeah, I'll have to ask CPA Radley." And I was like,
hmm,
"Oh, yeah, right. Angie, the tax guy, right?" And then I remembered, and I'm even getting the tap on the shoulder, like, don't forget about me. Matthew, my guide, who's behind my right shoulder,
yep.
is me.
Oh,
I've made no bones about that. I tell anybody that will listen. He is me. I've known it basically from the beginning. He's me on a parallel line.
I wonder if you're the guide for Matthew on another parallel line.
I mean, it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Like, so if that's true, somebody said, oh, that's why Reiki and energy work can do things like heal your inner child or, work
Oh,
on situations in the past
oh,
because they're not in the past, they're right now. It's just not where you're standing. Like, I
okay.
mean, it's such a
Hang on.
crazy,
I'm having a mind blow thing here. So like, oh, no, that's really profound. That's really interesting.
right? And I mean, it's really all quantum, right?
Sure, sure. Yep.
But
Holy cow.
here's the thing though. So now I'm gonna bring something new into the conversation because I was asked by somebody if this person and the cat ever had a lifetime together. And the answer came fast and easy. Yes, but the cat was the person
Hmm.
and you were actually the dog. But I mean, it was fast and easy. Like it was like I just knew.
Hmm.
Like I didn't even have to think about it. I just knew that was the answer. And I have often thought about the idea, because if you, talk to your church going friends or whatever, some of them will tell you that animals don't go to heaven at all.
Sure. Yeah, that's what they think. Yeah.
And then some of them will say, oh, well, yeah, there's a dog heaven. And I just
Right. Yep.
do that. But I know for a fact that one of my guides was my dog,
Hmm.
right? My guide Silver. And it's when I point, right? It's because they're in all these positions.
Positions. Yeah.
So Silver is on my left side and she's to the front. Silver was my dog, Cece, my little white Bichon
Hmm.
so it's not that my dog is my guide, it's that my guide was my dog.
Right. Right. And the
So to
soul
me,
part of it.
that means that you can incarnate as anything.
Do you remember the book came out in the 80s with the guy that had the alien abduction stories? Shoot, what was the name of that book? Whitney Schreiber is his name, is the author's name. Contact, I think it was. Communion.
Oh, I think
And
that's in my Kindle thing.
yeah, he wrote a number of other books, and the further along his books go, the more spiritual they get. And he basically said that after, working with mediums and communicating to the other side, that the aliens that are interacting with people here are from a parallel lifetime, and they can incarnate, or we can incarnate as them.
Well, I mean, what's interesting to me about that is the idea that they're aliens,
Right.
right? The only reason they're aliens is because they're not of Earth. That's it.
Yes.
They're not
Yep.
green. They don't have giant eyes. It'd be kind of cool if they were Klingon, but I don't think they really are. Do I believe there might be, planets, races of warriors such as that? Yeah, why not? Like,
Why not?
I
Why not?
think Gene Roddenberry was tapped into an awful lot that
Oh, that never occurred to me. It's not all fiction.
I don't think so. I really don't.
Huh.
Um, I think, I mean, where did he come up with that stuff in the 60s?
True.
Well, there was LSD, but still, I don't think he did
Right.
LSD.
Me.
I don't think he.
Yeah.
Um,
Just a little extra plot help here.
right. So, I think it's a very human thing to want to make the aliens gray or green or little men or giant. You know what I mean? Like because we're well, I'm not, but we're afraid of things that we don't know, right? The
Mhm.
unknown. We're afraid, but I know. So this was a concept that I got from soul realignment, which is a method of reading the Akashic record,
Right. Right. Yep.
and the idea of soul groups. Where did your soul originate from? My soul, and she channeled these descriptions. Did she get it from someone else? I don't know. Whatever. But these descriptions of these planets where people come from, the Pleiades and Mintaka, which is in Orion's belt, and Sirius, and the characteristics of these people, very much like archetypes, like we talked about.
Hmm. Hmm.
And the minute I read the description for Mintaka, I was like, well, I have that, and I have that, and I have that, and I have that, and all of them, like
Hmm.
down to and including I don't swim with fish poop. I don't like dark water. Like that's a big thing because Mintaka was a planet that was filled with beautiful clear water and it was destroyed. And so now the idea of, dark water is very
Aversive.
um
Yeah.
and then also before I recognized any constellations, I recognized Orion.
Oh,
Like I
interesting.
didn't see any of, the others. Like
Right.
but I could
But
always,
that one drew you in.
although I don't like it when Orion comes back because that means winter is coming. Because it is a winter constellation, but whatever. But so the idea that you could be, you so you could have 32 lifetimes, 28 lifetimes, whatever, because that was one of the things we did in soul realignment was count how many lifetimes ago was it. They weren't all necessarily of Earth.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And if you do exist on different timelines all at the same time, I think it would be a little bit closed minded to think that you're only on Earth. Why can't you be on
Somewhere else at the same.
Kronos or um, the Land of Oz or
Mhm.
whatever?
So here's a question. Why is my focus right here, right now? How come my focus isn't over there? Or is that's like,
Well, because that you're in this physical body,
oh, okay.
right?
And then there's another version of me that's over there?
That's what I think, right?
Yeah, okay. In his physical body. Or
And I
her.
mean, if you think about it, if time is if linear time is a human construct, I think that's why you can work on your inner child or work on different aspects of it. I mean, I've done powerful session work with the wheel where I put a person in the center and different aspects of them on spokes of the wheel. Maybe they pick the ages, maybe when they're 4, when they're 12, when they're 18. And then I always, on the final spoke of the wheel, which is at 3 o'clock for whatever reason, because I go around. 6 o'clock is always the guardian angel behind them, their guardian, and they're in the center. But at 3 o'clock is always the ultimate version of themselves,
Oh, interesting.
whatever that is, and whatever age that is, right? Like maybe you are the ultimate version of yourself when you're 50, and then it diminishes because you decide you want to slow down as when you as you get older. Who knows,
Right,
right?
right.
So I've done work on people and done very powerful sessions on different aspects of themselves. They have to exist somewhere for that to work. Is it
Right,
a timeline? Is it a parallel?
right.
The
And
tax
and
guy lives in my head and he does not shut up when something comes up. Like I can't, I mean, you've heard me say it. I can't stop it.
right, right. Yeah.
Like I hear somebody say they're going to do this or they're going to do that. And he's like, why are they doing. And I can't stop it. So why couldn't that be a parallel version of myself?
hmm I wonder if so there's always great stories about someone who comes to a new city they've never been to, and they immediately know their way around, right?
Yeah.
Clearly, that's a very similar situation. I have this once in a while where I'm picking up a new song to play, and I'm playing it. I'm like, I know this song. I already know this song. Like, I don't know how I know it, but I know it. And that just feels like there's a reason, there's a metaphysical reason for that.
Right. Or they say, um, you long you long to go somewhere you've never been, but it feels like home.
Oh, that's a
Scotland
great
for me.
example.
For me, that's Scotland for
Yep, I was just
sure.
gonna say Ireland. For
Ireland,
me,
Scotland.
India. It's really strange. It's really weird. Um, longing to go to India, longing to go back to India, and I've never been there.
Yeah, but as soon as you said it, I saw you. So
I know. You felt it, didn't you?
like
There's
no, I
something there.
saw
Okay, you saw it. Yep.
saw actually saw.
Sweet, sweet.
Yeah, with the long
Yep.
the white not it's
Yep.
not white, it's like cream, like a cream color with the coat with the long coat, but the
Yeah.
pants
Mm-hmm.
with that embroidery and the
Yep. Yep. I'm looking at it right now.
that head
Beautiful.
thing.
Yep.
See?
Yeah.
That's how all your hair got worn off. No, I just,
Right.
I don't know where that
Too many turbans.
that was Matthew.
That was
Sorry.
tell him thank you.
Anyway,
I enjoy the sense of humor.
he does have a good sense of humor for sure. Anyway, yeah, I mean that I think it explains a lot of although I used to have deja vu a lot more than I do now. I think because I meditate and go places and do things and make connections that I don't need the deja vu anymore.
Right.
But
It was a tool that's no longer needed.
yeah, I mean, and I remember seeing visions and flashes when I was younger. Like I would see a car do something really stupid and foreign right in front of me, and then it would happen, or things like
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
Now, and yeah, right. I mean, this is a good question because this is what the naysayers always say. If you are an intuitive, if you are psychic, if you know what's going to happen, if you can predict things, why can't you win the lottery?
That's
We've
that is
talked about
always.
this before,
Yep.
and I mean, I just honestly think it's too random. The lottery itself is just too random. It's not really connected to, like
It's not
it's not
connected
in
to
the
energy.
plans.
Right. It's
Nobody's
not.
planned it,
Yep.
right? Like it's not like somebody has said, "Oh, tomorrow the winning numbers will be three,
Mm,
4, 5,"
mhm,
right?
mhm, mhm.
It's in that juggler thing with
Right.
the
Right.
balls and the
It's very
air and the,
it's very mechanical. There's no human element involved.
Right. I mean, there's nothing to connect to, right?
Yeah,
That's
there's
what
nothing
I
to connect
think.
to. There's nothing to connect to, and we connect
That's
to
what
other
I think.
souls.
I mean, and then do you remember this show? It was called Early Edition, and it was Kyle, what's his name? Kyle Chandler was in it, and he got tomorrow's paper today. It was actually the Chicago Sun Times. He got
No
tomorrow's
kidding.
paper today.
It was a TV program?
It was a TV show, yeah, in the 90s, I think. It was a
Okay.
great show. I loved it.
Yeah, it sounds familiar. I don't think I saw it a lot. There's a
But it
movie that oh, good. Go ahead.
well, I just wanted to get to a point was that um this paper was given to certain people because to actually go back and fix like accidents or prevent a kid from getting hurt or
Yep.
something of that nature. And as long as that's what they did, everything was fine. But any one of them, because there was more than one getting this newspaper, tomorrow's newspaper today, any one of them that went and got the lottery numbers, and used it for their own gain, it did not go well. Things went awry. The energy went bad. So it was interesting. It was like this is your mission and you are meant to do good in the world, but use this for your own gain at your own folly.
Yep.
Type
Right. And that's where it falls apart.
which I think that's interesting too because could you not imply that to the gift of being psychic,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? You're
Yeah.
given this gift of being psychic, and then
And
if
as
you
soon as you
start to
start
try
to
to
use
use
it,
it for your own, is that another explanation for not being able to get the lottery numbers?
right. Right. The movie I was going to make reference to is a Nicolas Cage movie where he has this. He's a magician, but he has this psychic ability to see like 5 minutes into the future and no more than that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And he turns into kind of a petty criminal because he can do stuff knowing that he can get away with it because oh he sees the police coming from that direction. Okay, then I'm going to go this direction. But it's a really interesting concept of someone who has just enough psychic ability to see a
Oh,
few
2 minutes
minutes.
into yeah, 2 minutes into his
Two,
own
okay.
future.
Yep.
This is one of those. It's called Next, a sci-fi-esque action thriller with Nicolas Cage as a man who can see 2 minutes into his own future. Can you imagine how exhausting that would be?
And that's one of the things that the movie shows. He's just absolutely just completely worn out and almost borderline crazy because of this ability.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine what that would be like,
Right.
like constantly.
Constantly getting, all these impulses being thrown at you.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's a great concept movie, but kind of along the same lines of what you were just saying.
I can't believe how fast this time went. Like we're at the end
And
already.
right, right. And these shows are basically John and Angie talking about the coolest things in the whole planet and loving every minute of it.
So we absolutely do love every minute of it for real. So you absolutely should subscribe. You should click that little bell that will remind you when it's coming on. We do try to schedule the live streams, a couple of days ahead of time. It doesn't always work out. That just is what it is.
It is what it is. Yep.
Life kind of gets in the way up over here for sure, at least. So I guess that's gonna do it. Any final thoughts?
Your question for the day that was in our title. What happens when you just listen? And I think we kind of addressed that, where your ability to be intuitive is something you need to work on because you can practice it, and two, if you can learn to just listen, so many good things will come from that.
I mean, right? Perfect. Just stop. And not to mention, if you can learn to just listen, you can stay out of trouble because you don't make assumptions and answer until you actually know what's going on, right?
You stay in your neutral state.
Yep. So I went backwards and I looked at some of our really original episodes and something we did in the beginning that I thought was really cool. I want to do right now. And it was just like 1 minute at the end of the show where we did a little bit of an energy visualization. So I thought I
Oh,
would end with that today if you're
please
okay with
do.
that.
Please do.
All right. So why don't we do that? Just listen.
Okay. I'm ready.
I'm going to turn this light off though. We'll be at the end of the show. I don't know. Maybe I'll turn it off if I can find a switch. There we go. It's just in my eyes. So there we go. I know it makes me a little dark on one side, but everybody's got a light side and a dark side, right? Okay. Just take a second and breathe in deeply, slowly, intentionally through your nose, and then out again through your nose, slowly and intentionally. That in and out through the nose is the etheric breath, and it really has the ability to bring some silence and stillness around you if you focus on that breath. 3 or 4 breaths in and out. And as you focus on your breath, just invite your mind to quiet a little bit. And in this case, ask your heart to listen. Whatever you hear in your mind, whatever you hear with your ears is fine, but invite your heart to open itself up and listen. Allow yourself another minute or so. And as you settle into that energy, set the intention in this moment to bring with you back into the room what your heart heard here today. And when you're ready, reconnect with your normal rhythm of breath. And slowly and in your own time, open your eyes. Thank you, everyone. I hope that worked well for you. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Um, Always nice to have a little energy at the end of the day. So
Yep.
have a wonderful week, and we will see you next Wednesday. High five.
High five.